Okay. Is Josette coming?
No, Josette unfortunately got pulled away because of the delay in the start, so I'll be giving a regulatory update for her.
Perfect, thank you. Oh,
And I'll be giving the enforcement update.
okay, thank you.
I think because the invitation said 12:30 and it started at 12:30.
Yeah. So, because the room is
Oh,
9:30.
that's
So,
how I was
we
talking.
had one time. Yeah, we talked
True.
about
Yeah.
what else.
No,
I was talking about my own.
Candy about
So
that.
I'll do 1 o'clock.
She forwarded the room
And
invite, so
then-
next time
So
she'll
this
just do a
was booked
separate.
a half an hour ago.
But at least I was here.
See?
I mean, I was a half hour late last time.
For you right now, you know.
That was a video.
Yes. Shannon was just trying to be subtle. I was like,
That's what I do when I do holiday
more
dinners. I tell my brothers half an hour earlier.
yeah.
We do a half hour early to set up the room and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the invitation should have the real.
Right.
Well, there is somebody in Buffalo.
Hi.
Hi.
Oh, she's here, listen.
You're also from the public?
Yes.
Okay, so if we can just have you sign in and.
You can put it up?
Yeah.
Yes.
Please come up here.
Thank you.
Yes.
At the bottom of
Back
the
here.
email. I was in Buffalo. You're muted. You're on mute. Sorry, you're on mute.
I'm Jason Bryan, I'm one of the investigators here in Buffalo.
Hi, Jason.
Hello.
I'm Jody.
Hi, Jody.
Yes. Oh, I didn't even notice
She
that.
sent, you know, it's funny. The woman at the front desk, she sent me to floor 6. I said, no, I'm pretty sure it's 5. She goes, you need to go to 6. So I just went to 5.
Did you do the thing?
I know in my mind, because you know I to do something.
Yes,
Yeah.
customer service and stuff. Okay, are we good to start then?
Yeah, Lisa, could you go ahead and start the YouTube? Yeah, we're live streaming.
Oh.
Really? Look at us.
Oh, that's really cool.
Yeah, this was just one of those really quick information.
Oh, no, that,
Oh, okay.
All right, good afternoon, everyone. I'd like to go ahead and call the meeting to order. Today is Wednesday, January 31st, 2024. This is an open meeting of the New York State Appearance Enhancement Advisory Committee. I am Michelle Bialer-Brenner and Chair of the New York State Appearance Enhancement Advisory Committee. And the time is now 1:03. I'm going to go ahead and start by taking attendance first of board members that are here in attendance, obviously myself.
Aaron,
Leanne Shade and Anthony Fiore were both excused, and I believe Blanca Vidal is not present.
No, she's here, actually.
She's, okay.
I'm here.
Okay. I'd like to then go ahead, I'll start with this room. If everybody else who is present could also introduce themselves.
I am Candace Burchett.
I'm Heidi Hicks.
Shannon McGuire.
Jody DeLallo.
Jamie Tells.
In New York, please.
Ernest Delaney.
Dave Mossberg, Department of State.
Heather Roberts, I'm a public, I'm a esthetician as well.
Joanne Hedstrom, esthetician at Raising Beauty.
I'm Blanca Vidal from NYS. I am the old specialty.
In Buffalo?
My name is Jason Barrett with the Department of State.
Wonderful. Welcome, everybody. We'll go ahead and move right to our second mark on our agenda, which are department and subcommittee reports. If we could start first with an enforcement update from Ernest Delaney.
Yes, good afternoon. So this enforcement report, I wanted to provide the results of our 2023 A&E inspection program, which focused on nail salons and the ventilation requirements. For 2023, we inspected a total of 2,665 A&E shops. Of that number, 482 or 18% were noted to have ventilation violations. The violations are handled through our opportunity to cure process, where licensed shop owners are directed to correct all violations and submit proof to the Department of State. This process has been very successful. We've had 1,867 inspections, shops that went through that process. 1,589 had corrected their violations and submitted proof to our satisfaction. 278 shops had to be forwarded to our hearing process. And of that number, 278, which is 15%, 134 or 48% was sent to hearing due to ventilation violations, with the remaining shops being forwarded to hearing because they either failed to respond to the OTC process. And then lastly, we restarted a program for 2024, planning for inspections for New York City, Long Island, and rural upstate counties, including Columbia, Greene County, Wyoming County, etc. That concludes my enforcement report.
Excellent, thank you. Next on our agenda is our processing report, and we're going to have Jamie Toth that's going to cover that. Jamie?
Included in the materials you were provided, you will find licensing statistics for January of 2023 and January of 2024. The report shows the number of appearance enhancement licenses broken down by license type. The numbers are fairly consistent between years. For appearance enhancement operator and business licenses, the total number licensed increased by about 2%. For appearance enhancement temporary licensees, the total number increased by about 5.8%. This concludes the processing report.
Jamie, thank you. Any questions for Jamie? Sorry, I meant to ask him. Okay. Next is an examination administration report from Shannon McGuire.
Hello, included in your meeting material for today are exam statistics from 2022 and 2023. They're broken down by exam type, written and practical, as well as the discipline. Overall, the numbers have remained fairly consistent. We have seen a slight increase in natural hair. We believe that's due to a new school that has opened and their new graduates. Any questions?
Okay. Thank you very much. Moving right along, next is subcommittee updates, and Erin Maven is going to report on that. Erin?
Okay, we have updates for section 2.3 under appearance enhancement from the NHS subcommittee of current terms of use, techniques, scalp care, salon sanitation protocols, and heat damage prevention methods that align with today's current natural hair care industry, as well as a thorough breakdown of the 220 hours needed for technical skill. Given this breakdown in terms of each skill will ensure that students gain a comprehensive knowledge of said skill. Whereas for the 220 hours umbrellaed all of the skills, leaving no guideline for how the subject matter should be taught in the classroom. Currently working on updates to the online documents, lists of tasks evaluated for natural hairstyling practical exam that will now give a clear guide to instructors when teaching the course curriculum and what is to be expected for the practical exam. In upcoming, we will be working on updating test questions for the natural hair written examination. And once all of these previously listed items are completed, cosmetology will begin its updates as well as the incorporation of texture in the curriculum.
Fantastic. Any questions?
That was a lot.
Excellent. Okay. All right then, moving on from reports that we have, we're moving into new business. We'll start first with any updates on lash tinting. Josette Rocco.
So Josette unfortunately had a last minute conflict, so I'll be giving the update. So as the board probably knows, last year we filed a regulatory proposal to change the prohibition against lash tinting. We had tried to propose it through something called a consensus rulemaking, which would have allowed the rule to be adopted on a shortened schedule. However, during the public comment period, we did receive a comment which opposed the rulemaking. Because there was a single comment which opposed it, unfortunately, we were required to restart the entire rulemaking process. So Josette and I from counsel's office are working through the regulatory process. It will eventually require us to submit what's called a notice of withdrawal of the prior rule, and then start again with the notice of proposed rulemaking, which will then open it up again to another round of public comments, and then after that, depending on what those comments are, we would be able to be in a position to adopt it. So the basic update is that we are unfortunately restarting the process from square one.
Any questions or comments?
Does
David,
that apply
Oh, go
to
ahead.
routing as well?
We'll have public comment at the end of the meeting.
David, how would we be aware of the options for comments? Where do you find those? Where does the public find those?
So when a regulation is proposed, it's published in something called the State Register, which is actually published by the Department of State, and it's on the Department of State's website.
Okay.
It gets published every Wednesday. And so every Wednesday, any interested person can go to the website and see what agencies, are proposing rules. And within that document, there are specific instructions about where to file public comments. For the divisional licensing services, on the divisional services website, there's a specific web page now that has current regulatory proposals. And so on that website, it also lists, the change being proposed, when the rule was published in the register, where to submit comments, and how long the comments will be accepted for.
Okay,
So,
all right. Thank you. Right, next under new business is discussion on separation of aesthetics and cosmetology. I'm going to chat about that briefly. We had brought it up at the last, maybe even two of the last couple of meetings, and have talked about it. And that was one thing Erin was addressing with natural hairstyling. And one of the things that we had discussed the most, which was the need and the interest to separate out the licenses so that a full cosmetology license did not cover the practice of aesthetics, and even questioning the full practice of nail specialty, since the equivalence of the education is so incredibly different amongst them, which would also allow for cosmetology to utilize those hours for other things, natural hairstyling or other components that were particular just to cosmetology. We had discussed putting a subcommittee together for that. That is still something that I would love to do. And another thought also is to put something together with my fellow board members on some of the specifics, on specific hours, specific educational components that are not included in cosmetology, but that specifically fall under those other licenses as a grounds to separate them from cosmetology.
So, I think we should, form a subcommittee to talk about these things. Dave, we'd have to come to you for advice, obviously, on what can be accomplished. Sounds like a statutory change to me, but,
yeah, I mean, we could certainly discuss that, during the subcommittee.
Yep.
Okay.
So I would ask for volunteers for the subcommittee.
Okay.
And then, I think there's rules about, how many members can be on a subcommittee. Is that true, Dave? From the
Yeah,
board?
so we can't have more than 5 members. If you have 5 or more members, technically it triggers the open meeting law. So, I mean, at this point, we only have 5 members serving, so unless every member volunteered, I think we'd be okay.
So maybe solicit some names, or Candy can.
Yep.
And form a subcommittee to start it.
Okay, we'll do that. And then propose that we'll put it on the agenda for the next meeting.
Yep.
Okay, great. Jody, thank you. Yep. And then next under new business is a newsletter. And again, Erin Maven is going to address that.
Hi, everybody. You should have in your folder a lovely packet that says the Barber Cosmo update. So this is from California Board of Cosmetology. And they send out, I have a license in California, and I get this every month or every, I don't know, but they communicate with us a lot. And it's very informative what they're communicating. This is in black and white, but online it's in color, it's very vibrant. And if you just kind of look through, you'll see there's a message from the president, there's consumer corner hairdos for the holidays, so there's some advice. But throughout, you know, they're giving a consistent message of interaction with the board, with the state, giving people information, soliciting people to become board members. There's new releases, consumer warning about unlawful home services, right? So all of these things that typically plague our industry in New York State that we're not able to address, you can send out information via email that's going to give more insight, right? And it's not so formal, because I find that the communications I get from New York State are very formal and I don't read them, and to just be honest. So as a, you know, hairstylist, a visual person, we're all visual. I think this would be a great direction to move towards. So you also have disinfection reminder, alcoholic beverages and establishments, you know, just little, those nuances that kind of slip through the cracks that your inspectors aren't necessarily able to catch. But if you're able to communicate monthly with this updated information, or you know section, or how do you become licensed in another state? Maybe somebody's moving or thinking of moving. And then one thing with the, can I provide permanent makeup in my salon? I know like the last tinted, you can send information out about that. Instead of it being so formal, it can be up to date and current. And then we have establishment design, even down to that, like what is needed. Because I'm finding that locally, there are a lot of people that are setting up these salon suites, and they're creating these, they're using temporary sinks. They don't have hardwired plumbing, and they're just bringing in the portable sinks. And that's, I don't know if that's something that can happen, but I was always under the impression that it has to be hardwired plumbing, like hot and cold water, not portable sinks. So I think that is something important to express, especially with all these new suites that are popping up, because they think that, oh, well, I have the suite, and then, I have a hairstylist, and she was just using a portable sink in the back. Well, that's not really, to me, up to regulation standards as a stylist. And then, again, tentative board meetings, they also talk about connect with the BBC town halls. You know, I think you would get more engagement if people were continuously updated on what's happening, what's available for them to learn. And then one of my favorite pages here was know your scope. And that is pretty much understanding what your scope of practice is, right? It's right there, because a lot of people are not really aware of what they're able to do and not able to do. And then they have like this fun little fill in the blank, little jumble lettered situation. And then the last page is just kind of like a Q&A. Have you moved recently? Interested in becoming your state, beginning your state career? You know, so you can also put job opportunities for the state on there, right? It's not just about hair or cosmetic esthetician, or it's just to encompass the whole industry in New York State and bring it to the future. And if you notice on one of the pages, they actually have a social media page. So I don't know if we have that capability, but that's just something that I find you would connect a lot more with the current state of the industry, because we are all on digital platforms, and to be able to interact in that way, it would bring us to, you'd have more connection, and you'd probably have more, what is it called, compliability? So compliance, there you go, that's the word, yes. And that's all I have. Any questions?
I think it's a great idea. Of course, we're just making more work for you guys.
Well, no, so what I suggest is that this is not what you would do. You would hire someone to specifically work on this newsletter, because it's a lot of information, right?
But it looks like it comes out quarterly, so that's not so bad,
Yeah,
right? 'Cause
exactly.
This is winter.
Monthly's,
Yes.
you know, a little tough.
Yes,
Because
it
we have
might be
enough
quarterly,
material, but
right?
I think the department would need to work with the subject matter experts.
Yes.
I was I was gonna say, at least speaking for myself, and I mean, I would absolutely be willing to contribute information. And I know there's
same.
tons of people from various parts of all of our profession that we could say, you know, if we get a platform in place, like an outline, we could have people that we reach out to quarterly and say, what do you have for, you know, in the know or something new, or, and kind of address everything.
We did something similar years ago with one of our other boards. I don't know if it was quarterly, it was annually, I can't remember, real estate appraiser, we had a newsletter, and there's a lot, you know, a lot of effort involved.
Yeah.
And obviously the board and other subject matter experts, because we're not the subject
Yeah.
matter
Right.
experts, you know, we can kind of, you know, give information if what's allowed and what's not, you know, legal information or get our enforcement team involved. So it's definitely a possibility to be able to do. I think we should, once again, I hate to keep saying subcommittees, but kind of talk in a little more in depth about what we envision, you know, and then see where we need to go from there.
And another bonus to this is you be able to promote your licensing, right? Promote what licenses are available to people, promote new news, things that people are just not aware of until it comes down the pipeline and maybe it surpassed them. So a lot of people are signed up via email because they have to renew their licenses, right? So I'm sure you have access to majority of professionals in the state. So I think that is a great way to move forward at the beginning of 2024, just finding how we can get this in action. Like I said, I'm willing to contribute. I don't know who would be in charge of design. Maybe we can get some interns or something, but you know.
We have the department has a communications team, and so anything like this would go through them as well.
Okay.
You know, so we're, you know, looks like they've hired some more people, like we send out social media posts now. We put they're redesigning our website, we send email blasts out. So that is something that we do, and it's kind of picking up a little bit.
Good.
You know.
Do we have a social media by chance? Is that something we're able to have?
The Department of State does.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, what
As a
about the
department.
actual advisory board?
No, that's.
Okay, that's against the rules.
I don't know, I mean, I don't know. I would have to have an internal discussion about that. I don't know how that's handled. Honestly, I'm not sure.
Well, then it becomes too that anything that gets said or put out becomes from the board, and it just, people take things differently sometimes, or the wrong way, or, I mean, I get emails all the time, people think I have control to like change everything. So I'm like, I have no control, you have no, you know, nothing.
Typically, if something comes out from the Department of State, it's from the Department of State.
Yeah.
It's not, you know, necessarily.
I love this idea with the newsletter. What I like about it also is the positioning from the Department of State, the licensing department itself. It's you know, it puts it in a whole different perspective, in a positive, that, you know, what we're supporting the profession, we're out there with them, we're trying to engage them, and instead I think people look at, oh, it's the licensing department. It has a negative look instead of a engaging positive. We're really here to help and get everybody on the same page.
Yeah.
I think it's a great idea. More than
Because
happy to
people
help.
think of the Department of Licensing as, they just want my money, or they just, it's like, no, it's full of resources.
Yeah.
But people don't know about them.
Any other questions, comments? Okay. Yeah, that was great, Erin. Thank you so much. Next on our agenda, we have public comment period. And I do see in New York, we do have members of the public that are here. For anybody that would like to comment, if you would first just introduce yourself and then go right ahead. Anybody?
Yeah.
Okay. Hi, my name is Linda Giardinello, and I'm representing New York Institute of Beauty today. I would like to be part of the subcommittee for the aesthetics being pulled out of cosmetology.
Hi, Linda.
Thank you.
No, that was you. Thanks, Linda. Anybody else that's present?
Yeah, my name's Heather Roberts. I'm just curious if, there's any way to create more interaction and more updates to fellow estheticians, cosmetologists. It just really seems hard to find information about like what's happening, the process of getting laws passed or regulations passed, like the whole, the whole concept of the brow and lash tint. It's just really hard to find any sort of information, which is, part of the reason why I'm here today. But I do like the idea of the newsletter because I think that would hit a lot of those points and keep people up to date in a way that's really accessible.
Heather, thank you, and that's actually even a point that we've discussed several times, and especially when we were working, it took us a good, oh my gosh, almost a couple of years to go through the scope of practice for estheticians, cosmetologists, waxing and nails, what can you do, what can you not do before we put that out. But that was a topic conversation that we've had, is how do we get it out there to people? So any input and any other ideas, I know things are on the website. As a school owner, I try to get things out there too, but the newsletter is a fantastic way of getting those types of things out there, or at least directing people as to where to go. Even, David, when you shared, the state register and where you can go to look for what things that are going on is a great thing for us to try to push out there to professionals, so that when you're, instead of Twitter or Instagram, you check out the licensing department or DOS and just see what's going on. But I think people are looking but don't exactly know where to go.
Exactly.
Heather, thank you.
Like even with this meeting, if I might just say one more thing, like the only reason why I found out about it was because I kept Googling. Like, we don't get emails, we don't get like any update as to when the next meeting is. If I had not Googled it a few weeks ago, I would have missed this meeting completely. So I don't know if there's a way for you to like send out emails, or there's a couple really active Facebook groups that people could post in. I don't know if that's something that could happen.
Well, that's a good question. Because emails would have to come directly from you guys.
So the information about the boards on our website. So the Appearance Enhancement page has an advisory board tab.
Yep.
And it shows all the tentative dates, and then that's where people get the link to watch it, right? Live.
If you go under meeting section of our website, it'll show you all the, like, everything that's in your folder we post, a link to YouTube, so you can watch it there.
Yeah. So Heather, that's it's everything on the website. All of the links are there. This is recorded, so that's there too. So if you've got connections with large Facebook groups and other groups, and if you want to copy and paste that link and send that out, and then people know just to go to the Division of Licensing's homepage, and they can find all that information there. Erin,
And I do want to say this about the website interface. It's not the most accessible, right? It's not the most
not at all.
And for me, like I've Googled, I've looked up stuff, and sometimes the same information doesn't come up. So when I go on the website and I'm looking for, I understand you say there's tabs and stuff, but for someone like, okay, when we think of social media, we think of attention span in a digital age, you have 30 seconds to capture someone's interest. Beyond that, they're leaving. So if I have to go through, 1 step, 2 step, 10 step, I don't care anymore. I want that right there, and that's why I'm saying with the newsletter, it's going to give them that information right at their fingertips, right? We live in a microwave society now, so it's not the matter of, well, it's on the website, you can go on there. There's so many things on the website to navigate through that someone that maybe isn't necessarily internet savvy or website savvy, they might not be able to find that, whereas someone like her, I didn't get your name, sorry. Heather, she said I kept Googling, but not everybody has that tenacity. So we want to think about the whole collective of how people receive information. And you literally have 30 seconds of their time.
Right.
Well, and again, not that we want to keep doing subcommittee, but is that another thing that we should have? That we should have a group, that thinks about those things, that we can come back to you folks and say.
You can always give us suggestions.
Yeah.
I can relay comments.
Right.
Public comment is
right.
Comment to
right.
us, and then it's not usually a discussion or a dialogue. It's a comment,
right.
and then we take those comments and
try
see
to
what can happen with that. But that's from the department. I don't know. Something like that would involve the board.
Right. Right. Any other questions or comments, anybody?
Hi, I'm Joanne Hedstrom. I'm an esthetician at Raising Beauty, but I'm also a member, Heather with me as well. We're part of the New York City esthetician community that we created about almost a year ago on Facebook. So we have built slowly but surely a community of New York City estheticians to really help support each other and to really help just build our businesses and just understand what the laws are for aesthetics. So I just want to say thank you for having this meeting, and I'm very eager to also volunteer myself for any subcommittees or anything that is needed on our end to really help support each other. I also have another question. I don't know if this is even going to be announced, but the community has also had concerns about the whole microneedling bill, so I don't know if that's something you guys can talk about today.
Yeah, we can't do that today, maybe put it on the agenda for another time.
This is
Oh, it's-
public comment, so it's up to the board and the
To make a
department to
decision.
establish the
Okay.
content of the board meeting.
Okay, that's perfect. So, Joanne, I guess what I would recommend for you also is, all of you ladies, please hop on, and I believe all of the meetings are scheduled for the year and are on the website. Please do your best to attend because your input is important to us. I also believe contact information for all of the advisory board members are on there also. So you can find all of us and reach out via email or whatever contact information is listed there for us. Because the best way to get any information presented to the board via the advisory board is for you folks to come to get a voice heard to us first so that we can have some conversation about it and put something together to do. But my gosh, we're certainly open to any and all feedback, and in all honesty, the more involvement that we have from voices that are out there in our profession are super helpful. So thank you to all of you.
Thank you.
Anybody else?
I want to say this is the first time that I came here. Thank you for inviting to me. I am working in NYS. I am nail specialty, and now I do that training for the workers. But I think this newsletter is very important because we can share this information with the clients because I do so many trainings in many years, and I look at the workers only get for the license, and some of them don't follow the rules. And I think that it's very important to communicate to the clients what license and what the workers can do with that license. Because I was working in the nail salon about 14 years, and I was looking many workers. They was doing pedicure or manicure, and after they going to do the wax, but they don't have the license and they don't follow the rules to protect the client and to them because they don't use gloves or they don't wash their hands. And I think it's very important for the clients to keep the hygiene. I think it's going to be the NY more force. It's more hard to work with a worker. That's all.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I'm nervous. This is the first time that I'm here, and I forgot.
No, that's fine. Blanca, thank you very much. And I think, we've got enforcement on with us, but that's definitely something that they've spent it's been a couple of years focusing on, and a lot of focus has gone into the nail salons. I mean, ventilation's been a huge part of that, but obviously they're looking for compliance on every angle. And that is definitely something that has been seen. I even see that. I can tell you, I have a nail curriculum in my school, and nail graduates go out and go into other businesses and have come back and said, well, they're asking me to also do waxing, or they're asking me to do lash tinting and other things that are not falling under their scope of practice or their licensing at all. And there's some business owners that either they don't know or they're just simply not compliant. So you're right, sharing that information and getting out there is definitely important.
Thank you. Anybody else?
Hi.
Hi.
I'm Kelly Napoli. I'm here with New York Institute of Beauty, and I think majority of us are in agreement with this piece of paper, this packet. We deal with students and obviously business owners as well, so it's a great way to get the word out because on those Facebook groups, some things are very misleading.
Yes.
For us in the education side, we're like, actually, this law, this segment says this. So I feel like this is a way to get it into each practitioner's hands and business owners, that it is very black and white, not this gray area. And even if you guys just say, this is in the hearings, this is what we're talking about, this is up to discussion, even the lash lift and tinting and all that, it's a huge topic of discussion. Everyone's like, oh, we can do it. It's like still up for what we need to know. With the nano needling and micro needling, same thing, people are like, you can. It's like, we don't know yet. Right now it's a no. So this communication is key for us. I know emails are great. However, sometimes with emails, it just gets stockpiled and no one really reads it, especially when it comes from New York State. I need to say it, but you're just like, all right, I'll get to it. My license isn't up yet, so I'll wait. They're not realizing it's an update. Where even on those Facebook groups, we could just copy and paste this and be like, here's from the state. So I feel like this is a great way to communicate with everybody, even those who aren't practicing for a few years and come back. The parents enhancement laws haven't been updated since 2020. So what you can actually see on the state. So things are a little confusing, and I do agree the state website is not uniform. So it's like you Google one thing and it's 2018 state board rules, and then you actually go to the New York State website and it's like, no, it's 2020, and they're like, but it's 2024. So I feel like this is really, really important, especially with who I deal with in the field. This just makes our life so easier. It's from you guys, it's not us saying it, it's just from the state itself.
So, absolutely. Thanks, Kelly. Thank you. Okay. Have we covered anybody else?
Actually, I do have one more comment. I just wanted to see how, well, what she was saying, having something from New York State, but I also feel that a lot of people get confused because they come from different counties or different cities, and they say, oh, well, in New York City, we could do microneedling because all you need is a tattoo license, or another place in Long Island said, we can do microneedling, but one section of Long Island can't. So it's like, I think that's where it gets really confusing. And if there's something that we can have like a newsletter too, or something that can make a statement of either each county is different and have their own laws, or is New York State like across the board for everybody? And I think that's where everyone's getting a little bit lost.
Well, I think the clarifying point of that is that as far as aesthetics goes, cosmetology goes, it is not under our scope of practice, period, regardless of what county you're in. That's tattoo licensing, so that's not even our agenda. That doesn't fall under appearance enhancement. So tattoo licenses are different as per counties across New York State. Appearance enhancement licenses are absolutely not different. So we wouldn't address somebody else's licenses, just our own. And as far as ours goes, nope, it is not allowed.
Okay.
Unless you want to be a tattoo artist, and then
Right.
that's a whole.
Thank you. Thank you so
All
much.
right, you're welcome. All right, then if there's nothing else, we will go ahead and adjourn today's meeting. Thank you, everybody, for being here. Thank you for all your comments as well. I appreciate it, and we'll see everybody, I guess next schedule is May 15th. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. May 15th.
No, you're busy now.
It's impossible to find.
Yes.